In June of 1992, New Balance CEO Jim Davis had to go big or go home. The athletic footwear industry was fiercely competitive, but after years of prosperity, the US market suddenly started to shrink. This didn't pose much of a threat to Nike and Reebok, the country's sneaker powerhouses. They continued to spend hundreds of millions on advertising and high-profile endorsements. And they could afford to do so, thanks in large part to their use of low-cost manufacturing overseas. What they didn't spend on production, they poured into marketing and gobbled up the domestic market share. But it did present a problem to New Balance, a niche shoemaker whose products were proudly made in the USA. New Balance sold a high-quality shoe that cost a lot to make. There wasn't much left over for sleek ad campaigns. In fact, New Balance even bragged in its ads that it was endorsed by no one. But Jim Davis knew that something had to give. For his organization to stay relevant and avoid being swallowed up by industry superpowers, Davis was contemplating a bold strategy for New Balance that set out to do three things: substantially improve its profitability, increase its brand awareness by investing heavily in marketing, and move into the top 5 in domestic market share. Was this even possible? And if so, would New Balance have to sacrifice its core values to pull it off? These are the kind of questions that McKinsey's 7S framework was designed to answer. When McKinsey consultants Thomas Peters and Robert Waterman conceptualized the model in the late 1970s, they understood that when an organization embarks on a monumental change of some kind, it must first analyze its ability to do so. The 7S tool maps the 7 crucial and interdependent factors that influence the organization's ability to accomplish the kind of change that it wants. The 7 factors are: strategy, your plan to build a competitive advantage over the competition; structure, the way your organization is structured, who reports to whom; systems, the daily activities and procedures used by your staff; style, the style that your leadership has adopted; skills, the competencies of your employees; staff, the employees themselves and their general capabilities; and finally, shared values, the core values of your organization that are evidenced in your corporate culture. The 7 factors are often split into 2 categories: hard factors, which are more tangible and can be directly influenced by management, and soft factors, which are less tangible but still critical to an organization's success. Most importantly, the model demonstrates that all the factors are interrelated. Significant progress in one part of the organization will be very difficult to achieve without progress on the others. Now let's use the 7S framework to consider Jim Davis's decision. We know what New Balance's shared values are. Its products are proudly made in the USA. The organization has always demonstrated a strong commitment to quality, and it is famously endorsed by no one. How would Davis's new strategy then impact those values? Would New Balance have to start manufacturing overseas to improve profitability? Would it sacrifice quality to reduce costs? Would a high-profile endorsement be needed to increase brand awareness? What about Davis's leadership style? He's seen as a down-to-earth CEO who's easily relatable to his employees. And despite being a $100 million shoemaker, New Balance has the image of a neighborhood running shop. Would the new strategy make Davis a more cutthroat leader? Would New Balance operate in a more corporate way? If so, how would that impact New Balance's staff? The culture of the employees reflects the culture of leadership. Would a more cutthroat leader replace existing staff with cutthroat employees who care less about quality? Would there be factory layoffs if New Balance opted to produce overseas? McKinsey's 7S framework would help Jim Davis grasp the complexity of major organizational change. The tool would force Davis to think critically about whether or not New Balance, as currently structured, could pull off such an ambitious strategy, and what kind of impact such a strategy would have on the company's core values. But above all else, the model stresses that all 7 factors must work in harmony with each other for an organization to succeed. As Davis himself put it at the time, quote, "We'd be a bigger, more profitable company if we made everything overseas. Making a profit is important, but it's not the most important thing. To me, what matters most is making a product you believe in." As the McKinsey 7S model shows, that statement surely would be put to the test.